I'm Patricia Durgin, founder of ProfitFromYourMessage.com. Today I'm near Atlanta, Georgia with an author I just met at the CPE, which is the Christian Product Expo in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. It was just 2 weeks ago today, I believe, that we met.
So, yeah.
Yay! A new friend, a new acquaintance, a business person, and an author. That's what we're here to talk about today. Is your first book. Thanks for joining me, Tana.
Thanks for having me.
This is Tana Thompson, and she's the author of
Why Dogs Are.
Why Dogs Are. And this is a children's book.
It is a children's book for ages 3 to 103.
3 to 103.
Whatever age child you are, that's for you.
And this is your first book?
It is. First book. Had it for 20 years inside my computer and didn't know what to do with it until recently. So it's not new to me, but it is new to the world.
There are so many of us who would say that, in the sense that we've had a nugget for maybe decades, like you've had. Get it out, dust it off, ask Christ what He wants you to do with it. You'll be surprised.
Yes, you will.
Have you found that to be the case?
Yes. Pushed beyond my normal limits, outside my comfort zone. Published a book I never thought I would do that. Loved every moment of it.
And this is not only your first book, but there's more to come. Is that right?
The book is planned as a series. Second one's on the drawing board, literally. So it's about horses. So this second one will be Why Horses Are, and then there's Why Monkeys Are. And not sure where it's going after that, but I'm thinking about some other animals. People keep asking me about cats, so perhaps Why Cats Are. They're not as obvious in the animal helping world, but they
No.
they do serve a purpose. I had a cat that actually performed a miracle for me, so I might use him as my story. But the focus is on why God uses animals to help us, and how they can help us, and that we should respect their efforts, and we should love them as they love us unconditionally. That's a great lesson for us to love others.
He loves us unconditionally, and they are a representation of that to us.
Absolutely.
With 4 paws instead of 2 feet.
And fur. I love the fur.
And you have a saying that they are
God in fur.
God in fur. F-U-R.
Yeah, right.
This is Tana's book.
And
So
that's
it's
my
large.
dog.
So it's large,
Yeah.
and that's your dog?
That was my dog, Muttley. He's passed on to better things, I suppose. But he was a very, very special therapy dog. And he formed a special bond with the child in the book, who is a real child. He was deaf and blind. He still is, sadly born that way. He's now 30 years old and living in a group home, and has successful work, gives him something to accomplish. But I watched him grow up from about a 6-7-year-old student at the Alabama Institute for Deaf and Blind, and he and my dog had a really special connection. And I believe that the dog showed him God's unconditional love.
And that's one of the things that you were telling me, that regular people, I don't like that phrase, and I'm not sure that God does either, but we understand what we mean when we say that we have all kinds of sensory messages that come to us, and we understand colors and shapes and so forth, but the people that you're talking about don't.
They have no reference point, and God is an intangible concept that we're able to conceive because we can see what He created all around us. But a child born in deafness and blindness has no reference point. And like Helen Keller had to learn that the water coming out of the pump that landed in her hand was the same as the symbol her teacher used for water. So she was able to learn. And she's one of the most famous deaf-blind individuals that ever lived. And she raised awareness to that condition. But we still have people, when they're born deaf and blind, they still have to have a great deal of assistance in comprehending intangible things they can't see or feel or hear. And so God uses everything. My pastor calls it prevenient grace. It's the grace He gives us before we know He exists. And so everything around us is that. And the dog represents to me a way of teaching children who are born without those senses that God loves them unconditionally.
Yes, He does. He does. And you met Brian. You started to tell us how you met Brian in the first place. You met him at the Institute, but why were you there that you ran into Brian?
My husband worked at AIDB as the executive vice president for 9 years, so first as his spouse and very involved as a family with the children and the programs. But later I worked there myself, and I really got to spend time with the children, the teachers, the parents in some cases. I got to know Brian's parents very well and learned some of the difficulties that they had in order to help him become the full person he could be. And so it was just sort of a 24/7 lifestyle for years with work and with after-school activities, and then meetings with parents and teachers. You begin to understand a little better about those individuals and what different needs they have. And I think animals, and particularly dogs in that case, because that was my dog and I watched it firsthand, come to play in their lives in ways that maybe the rest of us take for granted.
Yes.
And the next book about horses is as important, because children in wheelchairs, children who have balance issues, perhaps through their deafness or something, the horses allow them to exercise muscles they can't exercise when they're in a wheelchair. So it's not just a form of exercise. They build trust. They build relationships with animals that they might not get in other ways. So
true.
All animals can participate some way in helping people, and I just want to celebrate that, acknowledge that, and give back to the organizations that support those animals.
And there are people, children and teachers, that have been exposed to the book, read through the book, and were benefited, were ministered to by the book. Can you tell us anything about that at the Institute?
Well, at the Institute, they liked it so much they bought quite a few books.
Yay!
Yay. And they've given them away, and I'm very appreciative of that support. I have a wonderful, almost new, as she claimed herself to be, an almost pediatrician who is in Atlanta working, or will soon do her rounds in local hospitals, and she's purchased books to give to her patients in ways that will help them learn about something while they're sick, and then she intends to bring a therapy dog with her on her rounds. And that was really exciting, and that's exactly what this is about.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. That's good. Well, those children will be not so fearful.
Right. It's the fear factor, building of trust for things they're not comfortable yet with or don't understand, and dogs can provide that too. It's a simple act of just being beside them and giving them something to hold on to, or something to think is not judging them. There's an animal there that just loves them for who they are and where they are.
That's a beautiful picture. I know that touches your heart just thinking about it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does.
This is one of the ways that Tana ministers to people, and there's another way that she ministers as well.
I determined when I first decided this needed to see the light of day and not hang around in my hard drive, that I wanted to give the proceeds to charities that support the kind of animal or purpose that the book is about. In this case, dog charities. I am personally not a 501c3 organization, but I give to those groups. But you can also go through the charities directly. And my goal is to raise awareness of those charities that do this kind of work, to make sure that there are animals in their respective helping modes, whether it's horses, dogs, monkeys, that people are aware those charities are out there, and frequently they're not well funded. It's a lot of volunteer organizations. It's a lot of folks going in on their own time to take care of raising puppies till they're old enough to be trained, etc. And those organizations frequently fundraise, and the book is also can be used as a fundraiser for those organizations. But the ones I sell, I want to give all those proceeds to those groups.
So let's make sure that this is clear. The proceeds from the book go directly to the charities, and each book has its own designated charity in its time.
Correct. Right now, and it will be 100% of the net proceeds of all sales of the dog book go to charities that support dog therapy activity. 100% of the horse book, when it comes out, hopefully next year, it will support 100% of the proceeds will support horse charities. I had a wonderful career and a great life, and I'm not expecting to make my living off these books. It's for everybody else to enjoy.
This is a service to the kingdom.
Yes, it is.
We always benefit when we give to the kingdom. It multiplies. I have a friend who says, God is the great multiplier.
Oh, yeah. good mathematician he is.
Yes. Well, now, he has allowed you to be blessed with not one, but 2 awards. Tell us about that, please, for your very first
For
book.
my very first book. Well, it's his book, so I understand why he got the awards. Our first acknowledgement was a finalist win in the Next Generation Indie Book Awards for 2014, and that was exciting and led to many, many joyful encounters with new people who recognized that and said, oh, we want to be a part of this. And then recently learned we were silver medal winner in the Moonbeam Children's Book Awards, and that was exciting. And both of those awards come in the category spirituality. So people who read it and judged it felt it was a way to get God's Spirit into the world.
And you've made the point with me that this is a fiction book, and that you have taken some license.
Some license, yeah.
But those spiritual truths are still there, and they're still
Absolutely.
solid, and they are not,
Absolutely.
they don't waver.
No, God's unconditional love is there no matter how you slice it up and dice it up. And
Aren't we
he
glad?
chopped some of it into some animals, and I have four dogs, and they give it to me every day. And I'm just happy that I see that people who can't see those dogs or hear things, birds chirping all around them, they can't see blue sky, that something can come along and love them and touch them in a way that says, you are loved. You are loved unconditionally no matter what is the situation in your life. And that's true for sighted people and hearing people as well.
The people that you're talking about specifically, they can't go to the park.
Right.
They can't go to the places and see these beautiful things. So in this case, dogs come to them.
Right.
God sends them to the person, and he ministers to them through the animal. It's a beautiful cycle. Now, where can we get the book?
The book is available on my website, which is www.whydogsare.com. It's available there. It's also available soon in many, many Christian bookstores. It'll be launching on November 1st.
Oh, good, good, good.
And so it can be ordered through any Christian bookstore or any bookstore through Ingram, which is a big distributor in the United States. And then, of course, it's on Amazon, which is another easy location.
You probably have heard
You've
of
heard
Amazon.
of them. I would like to add that when you order it through me directly, there's more money goes to the charity.
Yes, and that's an important point. I think you mentioned to me also something about it would be possible for someone to donate. They might want to pay for 10 books or 100 books and just receive the one because they want the rest of it to be a donation, and they would just send that directly through the website as well.
That or I personally can be reached through PUBLR, like for publisher, PUBLR@kendallneff.com. That's the name of my publishing company, and I'll be happy to give them alternative ways of getting the money from them directly to the charities. I also have website information on whydogsare.com of the charities I'm supporting, and the way to get in touch with them directly. So if you'd rather go right through to them and avoid the middle person, me, I'm happy for that too.
So multiple ways.
Yeah, multiple ways. KendallNeff.com is the publishing company, and there'll always be links to the books, and I have merchandise that uses the logo trademark Love Unleashed, and there's going to be fun things available there. So all of that will always be available. Whichever book comes up next, it should have its own website.
Okay. You have quite a few years of experience teaching, and if you can teach college students, who can you not teach?
Little children. It's a whole other thing.
It is, but there's a little bit of, tell us about your background, please.
30 years teaching in universities around the South. I like to stick to the southern ones because it's easier to get to work every morning.
Even in the winter.
Yeah, even in the winter, especially in the winter. Taught computer science and decided that was enough left brain use for a lifetime, and wanted to do something with the other half of my brain, which wasn't getting exercised. So that's where the artistic nature in the book and the layout and all that comes in. And I didn't know if I could do it, and God challenged me, and I hope that I rose to it in a way that's acceptable to the reader. But I learned a lot. It was a whole new experience. But I'm ready to do it again. So
good. That's a good sign. And you're interested in speaking?
I am interested in sharing the passion I have for this topic with anyone who'd like to listen.
And where would they contact you?
They can contact me through the publisher, PUBLR@kendallneff.com. I'd like to talk to anyone about about communicating.
And not
that
just
message.
not just local, but regional as well.
No, I'm retired. I can go anywhere.
Note to self, she can go anywhere. Just saying.
But, love to travel, so have car will travel.
Good,
So,
good.
and I would like to add that any charity that has anything to do with horses, dogs, monkeys, cats, whatever we end up with, feel free to seek me out about using this as a charity fundraiser.
Good.
Because I have a lot of books in my basement.
That need a new home.
And I'd like to offer them at cost to anybody who'd like to raise the price and raise some money for their charity.
That's a great point.
And that way they get a book, their supporters get a book, and they also help, and they'll give you directly your tax deduction.
Yes, yes. And then a child ends up with a book that will touch their heart
Yeah, yeah.
and encourage them. Thanks
Okay.
very much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.